Hi, welcome to the first in a long time video from the Electric Mancini, the absolutely amazing, incredible Mancini. Yeah, that's it. In case you don't know, guys, Mancini was I think a football manager. So yeah, I'm slowly tying back into that. I got some absolutely fire art done for my logo for the Breath Meds, bringing that back with this custom art Breath Meds logo. Absolutely love it. But you know, might be some connection to later in the video. I wonder why I would be bringing back Breath Meds. But yes, this is Ubers. This is the second Ubers side division thing season for the World Pokemon Federation. Yeah, I felt like coming back slowly by coming back to Ubers is probably the play. I like Ubers, it's fun, pretty interesting draft meta. I don't really like Gen 8 draft very much. They got rid of Z's and Megas just feels so disgusting all the time, constantly. Just gross. Yeah. So, Ubers helps because, you know, what's Mega to Pheromosa? Generally, the answer is a +1 attack or special attack. You know, so that's pretty good. Anyways, yeah. Breath Meds, this is the team. It's got an amazing logo. And I am here. For those of you who don't know, I do actually moderate. I am two things. First things first, I do actually moderate in the World Pokemon Federation. I moderate the S division, which is the top division. I did wind up dropping that out when I dropped a lot of Pokemon all at once. But you know, it's all good. I'm back. I'm here. I'm alive. Maybe. Got some curry that I just can't be fucked open right now. It's gonna be really nice when I get to it though. But yeah, Breath Meds, so pretty awesome. I love it. It's by Ultra Player. Played in the APA recently. They're pretty good, very good art, pretty decent player. Yeah. So I was 17th out of 18 in this draft, and going into the draft, I had draft picks from literally every single coach but two. Every single one. I had spoken to every single coach. One of them had not replied, and one of them told me that they weren't sure about what they wanted. Some of them changed throughout the draft, but you know, that meant that the first round of the draft, because I had picks from everyone, zoomed absolutely straight through it. It was really, really good. I gave them all about like 10-15 minutes if they were online to see if they want something else. I talked it through with them before I picked for them if they were online. And then if they weren't online, then they got what they asked for. And they went really well. We had some really good, really quick first round, and then after that, in subsequent and later rounds, it was points draft as well. I don't like points draft. I don't enjoy doing it. I feel it feels a lot worse when I do it. I like having the guarantee that I'm going to have, like, you know, some tier 3s, a tier 2, a tier 1, etc. Over this like fairly unrestricted thing. Is you'll see that my team wound up going. I end up getting most of my picks outside of my first two picks. Wound up getting picked while I was asleep by people I'd left picks with. A lot of times those were my backup picks, and that's not necessarily the first Pokemon that I wanted the most. Very early on, but then later on, it was not less a case of backup picks going, because I was going for, well, yeah, I'll get to it. But, you know, I did manage to pull off the diplomatic victory. I managed to convince 16 people going before me not to take Mega fucking Salamence. For those of you who don't know, Mega Salamence is just, it's insane. It's got 120 base speed, and this is an Arceus legal format, I should mention that. It's got legacy moves, which does kind of hurt the Mega Salamence when you've got to be worrying out and ducking for every single goddamn hidden power ice that's going around. But like, it's pretty mental that it came to me. Mega Salamence has goddamn insane stats. I love it so much. I mean, obviously, I, you know, like, named a team after it. It's Pokemon that I like. I'm really happy to have it. My brain is dying. Sorry. I had good sleep recently. I don't even have a reason for why my brain is dying. Yeah, Mega Salamence. I fucking love it. I'm really glad to have it. It's got, like, ridiculous stats. Like, it's 120 speed. The regular Salamence pre-Mega's got 95 HP. Dragon Flying type, with Aerolate busts its attacks, boosts the base power of moves, which are normal type, by 1.2 times and turns them into the flying type, which is very, very, very strong, because that then couples with the same type attack bonus. And the main problem Salamence had previously was that I didn't have that. Just in case, you were concerned that, as Salamence's 135 attack wasn't enough, it gets a boost of another 10 attack to 145 attack. And just in case you were concerned that Ice Shard was a move, well, it went from 80 defense to 130 defense. It got another 10 special attack as well. Yeah, that's why it saw a decent bit of play in VGC with that Hyper Voice dual target hitting thing. It was pretty decent control there, which is actually the most recent place I used it, I think, was back in 2018, I want to say, VGC teams. I played a little bit towards the end of that format. Yeah. Mega Salamence. I'm so fucking glad to get it. And it's Salamence. Forewarning, they're all going to be football, because, I am cheating. I might as well actually get around to doing football. And this is Macy, man. This is the best Pokemon / best player of, the modern era. It's absolutely, yeah. And, that's it, I'll lead into the next one. It's one thing to have good players, and, this is a phenomenal player, Messi. Lionel Messi. Absolute Smash Bros. Player. But, sometimes you just need a god. So I got the greatest goalkeeper of all time, and the greatest player of all time, the god. I got Pele Dragon, who is Arceus Poison, and Maldini, which is Zamazenta. The Crowned variant, which is the one with the ridiculous stat buff. It's pretty epic. Arceus obviously has 120 in every single stat, because of course it fucking does. It's pretty good. I would not say that I wasn't a fan of the stat spread there. And then, 120 base speed between both of my first Pokemon. Also, it resists poison. It's poison type, which means that it resists Fairy for Salamence, which is pretty important. Very important to resist to have, especially in the Ubers. And this is, heading into my, so I got a Dragon type, which is really good because it gives me nice fire resist, very important for Ubers. Actually, all of Maldini, my Zamazenta's weaknesses are patched up. It's weak to fighting, ground, and fire. And Salamence here, it resists fire, it resists fighting, and it's immune to ground. Not to mention, it obliterates fighting types with its airily boosted stab. And yeah, I do have Return, because it's a Legacy League. I don't know how often I'm going to be running Return versus Facade versus Double Edge versus Body Slam. It's versus Hyper Voice even potentially in some matchups. But yeah, Arceus Poison is phenomenal. It has access to Poison Jab and to Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is the same base. There's the same power points as Judgment, which kind of sucks, but it has a chance to poison, which Judgment doesn't. So the immune to Toxic is really good for Pele Dragon here, because that means that it can run 2 attacks instead of a 1 attack and refresh. Really cool, which is especially important because poison types are obviously immune to it, and it's resisted by Ghost and Ground, which are pretty key types as well. Its ground weakness obviously is also helped by Salamence here. Pele's just gonna... Pele's gonna just be absolutely phenomenal. Maldini as well, I don't know, Maldini's interesting. It's got a really nice stat spread, I think it's but it's only got 130 attack. So which, it's like with a Mega, right? 130 attack is not that impressive. It's got Dauntless Shield, which gives a +1 defense. It's got 145 in both defensive stats. It's only got 90 HP. 92. 80 special attack, so it's not really a special attacker. It's got decent coverage, but it doesn't have Earthquake. I really wish it had Earthquake, because it does struggle with poisons, because it doesn't have Zen either. So I think it gets Psychic Fangs to hit poisons, but just generally, I would have appreciated Earthquake a lot. But yeah, Steel and Fighting type Stab. It has a Behemoth Bash, I think it is the signature move, which only the Crowned one can get. It does have to hold Rusted Shield, like I said, so it's like a Mega. 128 speed, which is good because it's faster than Arceus forms. Yeah, really strong, and it can come in a lot of times, and it's got a really good defensive / offensive typing, because it's got the Stab for... being immune to Poison is also really nice. Both of these being immune to Poison is really, really good, because it means that Toxic is a very hard move to bring against my team. But I will say that, so Zamazenta was my first pick, but then the second pick that I had left wound up going, and I wound up getting my second pick for what I wanted for my next thing, which is a bit redundant with Zamazenta. So now I have Pheromosa, which is David Beckham, because it's bendy. That was really the full thought process there. And Suarez, because he runs crunch. You know, I don't know, I personally am very glad to have still... I don't follow football as much these days, but I used to follow it a good bit back when I still lived with my family. I would watch it with my dad. And I remember being around when Suarez turned into really, really beta Mike Tyson, all 3 times. Was that the bite of 87, etc.? Yeah, so... Obviously, the one thing that these 3 Pokemon is missing, well, I guess it may not be obvious if you don't know Maldini's moveset, but U-Turn, Volt Switch, Teleport, they don't have any of these, but then I have Pheromosa, who has 151 base speed, which is absolutely phenomenal, outspeeds just so many Pokemon. I think it's like Adamant outspeeds so many Pokemon as well, being Adamant against, Mega Lopunny and Mega Metric is really nice, and that's really cool. Then I figured I could really do with an electric immunity, so I got Suarez. And obviously, Pheromosa's U-turns are incredibly strong, 137 base attack, 130 base attack with them, 120 base attack, 145 base attack, and then all of them with less so Maldini, are capable to some extent of running mixed variants. So yeah, very, very, very powerful, very intimidating. Beast Boost as well means that Beckham can really wind up sweeping clean through a team at the late game with that speed. It's really incredible. Does really struggle against ghost types because it only really has Ice Beam to touch them. But, that's just kind of how it is. And Throat Chop, sorry. No, it is Throat Chop as well. But then, something like Sableye is a bit gross. No, because it can do it on that. No, it's Marshadow was the Pokemon I'm thinking of. Marshadow was gross because Shadow Sneak does a lot of damage, and it walls all the stabs, and it doesn't have super effective coverage for it. Which is sad, even with DLC. In DLC it gets close combat though, which is really good, because weaker than High Jump Kick, but it's a lot more consistent. And then Suarez here, yeah, I figured it was a very decent option for a Choice Scarf, a decent option for my second Stealth Rocker after Pele. I got Rapid Spin in Beckham as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Macy can defog, Pele can rock and defog, Maldini, despite being Steel type, cannot defog. Cannot set Stealth Rock, but Suarez here can, which is really cool. So yeah, I've got pretty decent and very, very offensively scary Hazard Control, as well as the Intimidate here to be able to run more defensive options, and Pursuit for my 2 fighting types who would otherwise have issues with Ghosts and... what's the other type? Psychics, which is pretty good. And just having a ground type with Moxie is pretty good. Especially because, Steel type resists their dual stab. Steel resists Pele's, it's immune to Pele's stab, and it resists Maldini's steel stab. Behemoth Bash, sorry I meant to say Behemoth Bash on the base power move, it's pretty good. Only Howl is set up though, it's very weak for Maldini, but Howl gives it +1 attack. It's like Sharpened Diancie, which I have run before. But yeah, very, very scary for a lot of people to try and run around. Then I'm like, well, I want some more backbone options to my team, potentially more hazard control, potentially more offensive pressure. So I wound up going with a double water type. Water type is good because it resists ice. Ice is kind of spooky, I guess, for my team, mostly for Salamacey and for Suarez. But it's here, so I got 2 ice types, another pivot option here with Teleport Cloister. It has access to Rapid Spin, Stealth Rock, and Spikes and Toxic Spikes, which is very nice. It also has the offensive Shell Smash variant, where it can use its ability Skill Link to have very, very high effective base power ice moves with the Icicle Spear, and that's stat, which is pretty strong. Its stats are nothing individually to write home about besides it's, I believe, 180, or is it just 160? I think it's 180 physical defense stat, which is really nice, even though its HP stat doesn't quite help that as much. But there's a lot of... I'm pretty sure it takes 2 Fusion Bolts from Kieran Black, even if Kieran Black is Life Orb or has Dragon Dance, so that's pretty good. Then I have... that's Yashin, because it's not a keeper. And then Maradona, because Primarina's Prima Donna Maradona. It was actually the first one that I came up with a nickname for. It's not any aspersions on Maradona's physicality. Maradona, absolutely, really, really good. Very decent special defense stat, very good special attack stat. It's my Fairy type. I needed another Dragon switch in because the only one I had was Maldini, which is pretty good. Maradona's another phenomenal player. and just the stab combined with the decent coverage, because I believe it gets energy ball and I know it gets ice beam, and it probably gets like shadow ball and some other dumb stuff as well. Psychic, I believe it gets as well, which is really strong. So it's pretty good. It's something that I think can come to enough games. It can check enough stuff defensively, and it can scare out enough stuff offensively that I'm not going to be worried about dealing with, what's the Pokemon's called? Like Mega Sableye or something, right? Like it can't just come and it gets me, because I can just Moonblast through it. Stuff like that. Very, very nice option as a defensive poke or as a breaker. Both of these provide stab priority, which I don't believe I had priority before. Arceus gets extreme speed, which is non-stab, but is actually stronger than either of these stabs. But yeah, Ice Shard from Cloyster and Aqua Jet from Maradona. Pretty good. Yeah, I should be saying. But yeah, then I have Tim Cahill, the Australian player. I just kind of wanted to put an Australian coach on there because I'm Australian, but I couldn't really think of one that fit with Espeon, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with Espeon anyway, so now it's Tim Cahill. Espeon provides Magic Bounce, which is really good because I have a Rock Weakness, and actually I think that's the only Rock Weakness, but the important thing is it is weak to rocks. And then these, like Maldini, 4 times resist rocks, but it is neutral to spikes, and you don't want to get it worn down. None of these Pokemon like getting worn down by spikes, and Cloyster is also weak to rocks, and you don't always want to have to run heavy duty boots. So Espeon gives me potentially an option for Wish support, which is nice. Gives me a very nice offensive thing. Oh yeah, the other thing to mention, sorry, Salamence does have Wish with its base 95 HP, which it can pass around, though it doesn't have access to Teleport, U-Turn, or whatever, which is pretty good. Dragon Dance is the very thing I probably should have mentioned. But yeah, so Espeon's good, and it gets Baton Pass, so you can't pass stats, it's only Dry Pass, but that's completely fine, because I can still pass whatever I need. Then I have Shavi here, my Chandelure. Chandelure, very, very, very good special attack stat, 145. Good Ghost Fire defensive typing, it's like a Alolan Marowak. Resists Fairy, immunity to fighting, resistance to fire. Fire is another good offensive type maneuvers, obviously because steel types exist. And like I said, I have a very consistent ground answer in my Salamacey. So I'm not too concerned about ground types offensively being a massive threat to my build. So that's why I wasn't too worried about that, but it does provide good defensive support for Yashin and for Zamazenta, who is my brain's dying. Sorry, I'll try to die less. Maldini. Yeah. So Shavi will be pretty good. I have like I figured I had a lot of very much physical offense, like Salamacey here, like Maldini, like Suarez, and I think Beckham does tend to prefer to be special over physical because it doesn't get Aura Sphere, so it has to rely on Focus Blast on a special variant. But special sets are still incredibly powerful. You just run close combat on them. It's fine. Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to. I felt like I had a lot of physical offense in the start, and then I wanted to pair that up with special offense in Maradona, in Cahill, and in Xavi. Then my last 2 picks were pretty cool. I figured I wanted more Wish support options, and I wanted more Dragon type checks that could come to specific matchups. So here I have Heart and Ribery. I just figured calling it Ribery was funny. And Heart's a really good goalkeeper from Man City. Yeah, Togedemaru, Chancellor, really cool Pokemon. It's got access to Wish, it's got access to U-Turn, it's got access to Nuzzle, which can be very nice in a team thing like this. Being able to Nuzzle an opponent's Uber, or like their Arceus, ideally, is very, very good team support. Also has access to Stab, Zing Zap, which is, I believe, its signature move, but it might not be anymore, something else might get it, I think, but has a good chance to flinch alongside Paraflinch. It's pretty strong. No rocks, unfortunately, but it can U-turn, it can Iron Head, and like I said, it's got Wish, and Spiky Shield is the other thing, as well as Sturdy, Iron Barbs, and Volt Absorb, no, Lightning Rod as abilities, all of which are very, very decent abilities, have a lot of matchups where they can be convenient, which is pretty cool. And then I have Ribery. Oh yeah, the important thing is it's also like a secondary Psychic Resist, because my other Psychic Resist is Tim Cahill. None of them are going to enjoy taking Psychic moves, but
I think Tojimaro is probably going to be a lot better at doing it. But both of them are wish support, which is interesting. Yeah. And then Ribéry, here's another wish support potentially option. It's very, very bulky, somewhat passive, but it does have access to some really nice support moves like Tri-Attack, like Tailwind, as well as Wish Baton Pass, which can be very good at supporting a team, and hopefully I can bring it. It's got decent coverage as well, and the fairy immunity, and I figured I needed another ground answer, because I have so many ground weaknesses between Hard, Xavi, and Maldini and Pele, because Beckham is not an amazing ground resist. It can take most ground moves once, and that's about it. Yeah, but yeah, I feel like this was a very, very decent build. There were some issues I had, but I really was unable to do it because there were 18 coaches. And I don't think there were enough. I think there should have been 20 because there are over 60 Ubers. And that's if you don't count Landorus Incarnate and Mega Morwile as Ubers, specifically in this Arceus legal format, where I feel like Ubers gets a lot different. Having so many more Pokemon like Zamazenta Crowned, like Mega Salamence, like Mega Mewtwo X. No, yeah, X is the fine type one. Like all these Pokemon which are legal, which otherwise aren't legal in non-Arceus formats, makes it a really more diverse, but you also need so many more coaches. There being, I think it was 75 Ubers, I think, and again, that's if you don't count Pokemon like Landorus Incarnate with Sheer Force and Mega Morwile. It means that, you know, of the 18 coaches, all have 3, and then another few coaches, I think 6 coaches, have 4, or potentially one has 5 or whatever. So I've got 4 Ubers, and then most coaches are coming against me with, like, you know, 3 Ubers, right? Like, someone comes against me with, like, I don't know, just say, Xerneas, I've got Pele, and then I've, you know, Arceus Fire, then I've got Salamacey, and then something else, I don't know. I'm dumb. You know, I don't know, Reshiram, whatever. Like, there's a lot of teams which are not going to be able to deal with my team offensively and defensively, simply because I have 4 Ubers, because there weren't enough coaches there to draft the Ubers away. It's not given that option. But the Pheromosa and Zamazenta Crowned, both getting them, Maldini and Beckham, they're going to be very good parts on my team, but I do find that they are probably going to weaken my builds in terms of the options that I had I been awake at the time, and instead of picking Pheromosa, had gone with something different, potentially a much higher tier fairy type than Primarina or Togetic, but most of them were gone by the time it got around to me for round 5. But yeah, like all in all, I think this is a very good team build for Team Breathments. I finally got Mega Salamence. It's still feel very lucky and very blessed to have gotten it to my pick. And yeah, I'm very happy with a lot of the aspects of my team. I think it is a very offensively constrained team. Like, it very much has to be offensive, because the defensive aspects are like Togetic and Cloyster, but it's alright. Hopefully I keep YouTubing this as I'm getting back into it. I do feel that generally I will probably be getting back into Pokemon, so look out to see the first week of this series where I play Talal and his Rawalpindi Scolabeads, and see what else goes on. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you soon.